Good morning, everybody. I want to thank you for allowing me to come through. Most people have never ever heard of me. Well, that's all right. My role was to be sent back to be the mother of the woman that was going to be the mother of Jesus. Well, that made me the grandmother of Jesus, which which was a wonderful thing. I want to speak to you about something this morning that I hope all of you understand, and that is a mother's love. When I gave birth to Mary, I thought she was the most beautiful child that anyone could behold. Yes, when I gave birth to her, she was wrinkly and had all the looks of a newborn. Many of them, yeah, I must admit, don't look that good. But Mary had this glow about her. From the first moment that I held her in my arms, I knew she was special. She was an incredible baby. As she grew up, she got along well with her brothers and sisters. You see, it was an absolutely terrible time. The Roman Empire was in turmoil. It was a time that the great rulers were exerting themselves. Now, we never knew what was taking place. We didn't have a radio, we didn't have newspapers. All we would ever know about what was taking place was what we were told. We were told that the system of government was changing. We were told that there were great wars taking place. They were great civil wars. Yes, we were always fighting with somebody. The Romans thought that if you weren't at war, you weren't doing what you were supposed to be doing. That's how the emperors proved themselves. Today, you're seeing the same thing. You have an individual or several individuals that think the only way they can expand their countries is to go to war and conquer them. That's what the Romans did. And you saw how that worked out for them, don't you? They're not around. You will always find out that somebody will be stronger than you are. That's just a fact of life. Oh, now today you got weapons that far exceed anything the Romans had, but you would not believe how many people would be killed in these battles that the Roman took place in. I'm going to give you an example. There was a time about 150 years after they killed my grandson that the Jewish population rose up against the Romans. The Romans responded by killing over 500,000. Think about that. 500,000 basically innocent people were destroyed by the Romans. Now, it is possible today that you can have a single weapon that will destroy 5, 10 times that amount. That is a terrible, terrible thing. When I looked at Mary, I felt nothing but love towards her. I knew that she was, well, I didn't know. I had had dreams where the angels told me that I was giving birth to a very special child. I didn't totally realize what was going to take place. No one did. Mary was sent back with one of the most special missions of all time. She was sent back to give birth to the baby Jesus. That birth changed the world. That birth brought forth a child that would speak of the one God, that would lead others, that would instill a faith in others that they would face death rather than not admit that they were Christians. How many of you could say the same thing? Probably very few. You see, those early Christians did not fear death. My grandson told them that they would be with him in heaven and that heaven was the most incredible place that they could ever conceive of. So they had no fear of death. They knew that they were going to a better place. How many of you out there can say that you don't fear death? Oh, I know there are some of you whose faith is so complete that you have no fear of it. I know Barry and Connie totally understand the concept of death. They are trying to tell others that death is but the beginning. It is your soul that has everlasting life. It is not your body. That's the way God meant it. But let me get back to a mother's love. That is something I know much about. There are mothers that pray to me, and I try to help them, guide them, and lead them. I can't speak to them in person, but I can speak with their guides, and their guides will try to lead them on the path that is best for them. Let me speak for just a moment about the greatest oddity. A mother's love that allows her to abort her child. Abortion's a terrible thing. We never ever conceived of the fact that a baby would be killed in the womb. When a baby was conceived, we felt that it was an act of love and it was something that the gods approved of. Now, you notice I said gods because the Romans worshiped many gods, and that was the world that I lived in. I Yes, I was Jewish and I understood the concept of one God, but the Romans were very emphatic that multiple gods were the way of things. When I looked in the eyes of my daughter Mary, I saw nothing but love. Now, I want you to think for a moment what would have happened if I would have had an abortion? Mary would have never been born. Mary would have never had Jesus. Jesus would have never been able to change the world. Think about that for a moment. All of you that think that abortion is such a great thing. Oh, of course, you probably don't believe in my son or my grandson. So, yeah, you can rationalize around it. But if I had aborted Mary, Christianity may not have ever come into existence. And for all you could still be living under the Romans. So you see, love creates a chain of events that helps humanity. A mother's love is one of the most important things. Have you ever watched how animals protect their young? There is much to be learned from that. A mother bear will protect her young and will be one of the fiercest things you could ever lay your eyes on as she does it. You would not want to get between a bear and her baby. But yet, a mother will kill her baby in the womb. How does that happen? Well, We tell you continuously that evil is everywhere. Abortion is evil. Do not think for one moment that God would ever approve of killing a child in the womb. That would never happen. Common sense tells you it'll never happen. Well, let's try this on for size. The golden rule: do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Would you want your mother to have killed you in the womb? I don't think so, or you wouldn't be here. So you see, this all becomes a logical path. Follow your common sense, but know love. Love is the one thing that can create an environment of understanding, cooperation. You do not have to love your enemy, but you do not have to hate them. If a person does something toward you, steals from you, hurts you through violence, we're not saying that you have to love that person. You can dislike them, but don't hate them. You try to forgive. Forgiveness is very, very important. God forgives all of you for so many things in your lives that you can't understand how many forgivenesses you go through. Try to forgive others for what they do, but correct them. Try to set up an environment where it doesn't happen again. If a person is violent, don't hang around with them. If a person's doing drugs, don't hang around with them. Stay away from evil. Evil has a habit of infecting others. One of the purest things in life is a mother's love. Oh, I'm not saying fathers don't love as deeply, because they do. It's only that I was a mother, so I know what mother's love is. I know that my husband adored Mary. He adored our other children. He did his best to guide our children to do what was right. Now, Mary was so exceptional. Mary was sent back specifically to give birth to Jesus. Oh, I cannot tell you how wonderful that child was. Now, I did not know him for long, because in those days we passed at an earlier age. But I did get to see him and to know him as a child. When I laid my eyes on him, I just could not believe the feelings that I had in my heart. I knew that I was looking at pure goodness. I was looking at pure love. I knew that I was looking at something special. Look at your family as something special. Know that each member is capable of showing great love, is capable of spreading the words of God, and is capable of doing all of the things that we did. Use the tools that you have to advantage to spread the words of God. You have telephones, you have social media, you have many, many ways to speak of God. Use those media to spread his words, to do what is right, and to show a mother's love. So thank you for allowing me to speak with you. I really enjoyed being able to come through. I don't get to do this much. What I do in heaven is to influence from behind a curtain of not being well known, but I do the best I can. Please, all of you, do the best you can. You will be rewarded when you return home. Show the love of a mother to others. You don't have to be a mother to show the love. So, anyway, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Should you wish, I would return again. So, goodbye. God is blessing all of you that are listening. He hangs around when I speak, and he is in all of you. You better believe that. So, goodbye, and I will speak with you again.